Nothing to see here, just a guy under the bridge studying the steady, methodical carving of a path. Which brings me to this behemoth, the Front Range Trail. 876 miles of tributaries and trail that will cut all the way through Colorado, which begs this one important question. Is there a time in the future, you believe, where someone can rollerblade from Wyoming to New Mexico through Colorado?
Well,
that's a great question.
Yeah, it is a good question. I had to say it being on, so all along that trail corridor, there's some places, like if you go through south of here, once you get south of Castle Rock, that trail surface goes to gravel. So you can still pass. You can get on a mountain bike, you can walk, you can run, but the surface may not be as smooth for something like rollerblading, but you can still have that access. And over time, maybe those agencies will pave as the areas grow.
Now, before we get into this, you should not compare yourself or your town to Castle Rock, Colorado. There they are, Douglas County. Their city map looks like it's breaking out in a rash of recreational opportunities. And they've finished a big connection from the urban Front Range Trail to the more rural stretch into southern Colorado. But they've had help.
Because it's a statewide initiative to create the Front Range Trail, those grant monies are a way to help communities get that done more quickly. And so we've tapped into that and said, they've made that a priority. If your segment of trail is Front Range Trail, there's a better chance that you're going to get some additional funding. So it wasn't the town of Castle Rock alone, but through state trails and through Great Outdoors Colorado made all this possible.
Great Outdoors Colorado, that is lottery money.
If I'm just trying to get a snack at the convenience store and there's some dude in a fleece hunched over doing scratch tickets, that's you supporting your job?
That's me, yeah, exactly. I put about half of my salary back into scratchers.
Okay, he's kidding because he has a great sense of humor. But Minnesota and Colorado, two states that put a portion of lottery proceeds towards recreation and preservation.
Their fund is managed differently than ours, so ours is a completely independent organization that was set up through an amendment to the Colorado Constitution, and that's what created GOCO.
And that flexibility has funded thousands of projects, which may have put Colorado ahead of the curve recreationally and maybe even transportationally.
20 years ago, when we started, that was one of the biggest complaints you had in Castle Rock, is trails don't go anywhere, right? They don't connect. There was a segment here, there was one other segment to the north, and they didn't connect anything. Well, now all those trails connect, and we're trying to make more connect, because people want to move around their community without being in a vehicle. They want to be able to come downtown, bring their family, throw a burley on the back of your bike, and bring your kids down here to get ice cream across the street.
I'm about to be a frozen treat if I don't get back in the car, but this is a rural stretch of Front Range Trail through Greenland, Colorado open space, fittingly preserved by Great Outdoors Colorado. People wondering what I'm doing out on this county road, but it's a connector to the Front Range Trail. Head south down here along I-25, then it connects this county road, then to another segment. So the Front Range Trail dream is in action, still very much alive, more so than my dog-powered scooter. We're going this way, guys. Come on. Imagine us working together, like everybody along the Front Range.
You have to make a plan, and that was really the idea of the state creating the Colorado Front Range Trail plan, is they knew you had to have a plan. They got, when you look at stakeholders of the Front Range Trail, it's communities all along the Front Range. They went around to every community. They had public meetings, the state trails, they had public meetings. They talked to every municipality along the way, and they got people excited about this idea of that connection.
And that connection, not just trails, but a collection of interest.
What sets Colorado apart in a lot of ways is our outdoor recreation amenities and mentality. And we have this aspirational vision as a state to have connectivity between our communities.
And while the Front Range Trail becomes a full-fledged reality, it's already a role model.
Other places that don't have something like this, to see what you can do, if you have enough of just people that are interested in trying to get it done. It can happen, and there's a lot of ways to get there, but it's so important for the community here. You can go out here and see, the middle of the day and see people on the trails all the time.
No matter how you recreate or transportate. From the Front Range Trail in the middle of Colorado, this is Jared Ewey for the Daily Yonder.